Child marriage is a gross human rights violation that puts young girls at risk and keeps them in poverty. Unfortunately, this problem is more prevalent than one might think. More than 60 million girls under the age of 18 are married, many of them to men twice their age or older. If child marriage continues at its current rate, an additional 100 million girls in developing countries will be married within the next decade. That's 25,000 new child brides every single day for the next 10 years. Poverty plays a central role in causing and perpetuating early marriage. Poor countries and families often have few resources to support healthy alternatives for girls, such as schooling. In such families with limited resources, child marriage is often seen as a way to provide for their daughter's future. However, girls who marry young have an increased chance of being poor and remaining poor. Marrying at a young age has lifelong consequences. Early marriage disrupts education, endangers her health, and cuts short her personal growth and development. Maternal health risks are particularly troubling, as risk of death in pregnancy and delivery for girls under the age of 15 is 5 times higher than for women in their 20s. Taken together, the cost of this practice is too high to be ignored. Societies cannot progress when even the common practice of marriage dooms girls and women to a life of poverty. It is against this background that Hivos is currently supporting program partners, civil society organizations, as implementing partners, but also coordinates with relevant ministries to advocate and bring meaningful awareness on the progress on child rights in Malawi. Protection issues, future interventions, and redress of activities of the next 5 years in the Child Marriages Program are addressed through the implementation presence in 8 impact areas in 6 districts across the country. Partners under Hivos funding works on specific prevalence and child marriage pattern. One such partner is Meaningful Action on HIV and AIDS Support Network Association, Masuna, which is implementing its project under Traditional Authority Tsabango in Lilongwe under Hivos funding.
So far, we have several programs we are doing there on the ground. Number one, we are doing a child back to school campaign, where we are counseling those who are already in the family, but they are not above 18 years. So we are trying to counsel them so that they can go back to school. Yeah, they can resume their education. Another program, we are strengthening the families which are vulnerable to poverty. Yeah, we are trying to give them some basic resources so that they can support their girl child at the end.
Masuna employs strategies and initiatives such as mother groups and girls clubs to encourage girls to remain in school and those that have dropped out of school to go back to school. Lucy Kambalame, one of the members of JAD's mother group, which is working with Masuna, says through their initiatives, most of the girls from the area are back to school.
We tell them not to be cheated by old men who have already made their future. We also advise them that if you get married earlier, you run a risk of birth complications during delivery, because by the time you be delivering, your pelvis will not have matured.
Loveness Lucius says through the interventions of Hivos and Masuna, a lot of boys and girls are showing interest in education. She, however, appealed to members of parliament and the executive branch of government to seriously reconsider the Marriage Act to at least 18 years.
We are appealing to government to quickly legislate a law that will put the marriage age at 18 or above 18, so that when we are talking to our daughters, we have a backup legislation that if they marry below 18, they'll be deemed to have broken the law.
Masuna is also involving traditional leaders in advocating for the rights of girls in accessing education. Group Village Headman Ntsinje says time is ripe to take advantage to pass the laws which will aim at benefiting a girl child.
arasindikiza bwino ukwati omfulumira china chimene chikuti vule fe mafumu tikungoona uthupi kukula tani mwana ene ukwatira alinza ka 15 mapita akatenga pathupi.
Parliament should quickly enact marriage age. I think government should come out clear that girls should get married at 18 and not 15.
Chonde nditu atatimirapo yera kuti mwana wene ukwatira wazaka 18 osati 15 yayi.
Another important partner of Hivos is Net and Counselling, YONECO. Theatre for Development is a strategy that is being used by Net and Counselling, YONECO, in showing the girls the dangers of marrying at an early age. Among others, Theatre for Development increases the awareness and adoption of communities' capacity to support the sexual and reproductive health rights through awareness and adoption of culturally healthy practices.
We are indeed working on a project on child marriages, which we call tackling early marriages through advocacy and sexual reproductive health, and we call it Temashe. This is a project that we are working with the financial support from Hivos, and we are working, we have got 2 levels of this project. Level 1 is the national advocacy component, which looks at the use of various tools to be able to respond to issues of child marriages. In that context, we are looking at areas to do with the National Child Helpline, which is, as you know, YONECO is the Secretariat for the National Child Helpline, and we have incorporated within the child marriages a component where people can report about challenges of child marriages through the National Helpline. So to that effect, we cannot talk about villages and districts because basically that's at national level.
Nkandawiya says there are several myths that are fueling early marriages in their communities.
We do realize that in most cases when we are talking about child marriages, there are a lot of fears and concerns that are happening. And one of the fundamental fear is that if you marry late, you will not have children. And basically that is because people don't understand what are the issues to do with their sexual and reproductive health, and at what age is late anyway. So there is a myth in the community that if a child marries late, the children would have finished.
Charles Banda is working for YONECO, and he says under Hivos funding, the organization is working with government and policymakers to motivate changes to the legal age of marriage. YONECO is also using short message sending services and radio programs in achieving the reduction and reporting of sexual and domestic violence, reducing unwanted pregnancies, resulting in unsafe and illegal termination. He, however, says poverty is one of the major contributing factors forcing young girls to get married to the older men.
The major challenges that we have come across at community level are issues to do with poverty. Most of the parents look at the issues of poverty as very critical, and they think that when they marry off their daughters, that will relieve them their duties of supporting their girl child. But at the same time, they will be expecting something from the would-be husband to their girl child. But that has not happened because in the process, they have been promoting the cycle of poverty within their communities. Apart from that, there is the issue of cultural practices, whereby most of our cultural practices promotes child marriages.
Center for Youth and Children, whose impact area is Kasungu, is supported by Hivos, and it is one place where the youth are molded into responsible citizens. Under the Rights and Citizen component, the Center for Youth and Children, through the support of Hivos, is implementing a program that is focusing on the sexual and reproductive health rights in relation to girls whose age is below 18. They are also particularly interested in seeing the marriage age in Malawi pegged at 18 years. Rogers Newa is the Executive Director for Center for Youth and Children.
The idea is to maintain the girl child in school. And considering the impact of child marriages in the country that's affected by a number of factors, which among others include the traditional practices that probably impinge quite a lot on the girl child, we intend to ensure that we have empowered the communities.
Also working at the Center for Youth and Children is Jawezi Mkandawire, who confirms that the program is producing desired results in encouraging girls to remain in school. She says through various initiatives that communities are undertaking, most of the girls who are on the verge of getting married have been rescued.
In this program, they sensitize the matrons and patrons for schools, even the mother groups, so that child marriage should be eliminated in schools, in villages, I can say. For example, here in our area, Chitunda, at first girls could get married early, but this time they cannot do that, and most of them, they have come back to school.
Through the child marriage program, Hivos is supporting civil society organizations that are implementing their existing programs in certain hard-to-access and marginalized communities. One such organization receiving support from Hivos is Center for Youth Development and Social Empowerment. The organization is implementing its programs in the area of traditional authority Chiwamba, one of the rural areas in Lilongwe. The activities of the Center for Youth Development and Social Empowerment are clustered around Malawi Primary School. Members of communities here have put up several interventions and strategies aimed at bringing a girl child back to school, or interventions that will return a girl in school. Through these programs, members of mother groups of the communities around Malawi School have constructed this grass changing room, which gives opportunities for girls who are in their monthly periods to continue coming to attend classes.
We encourage young girls to go to school even when in monthly periods. We have this changing room which is well stocked with toiletries so as to save all girls that have sudden menstruation while in classes.
Even girls attending this school attest to the fact that Kamala to Mother Group has positively encouraged them to stay in school and in that way delaying the marriage process. There are more than 10 girls who have returned to school through the interventions done by the center and mother groups with funding from Hivos. Group Village Sajiwa appeals to government to speed up the process of enacting the law that will bar young girls from getting married below the age of 18. He says the presence of the law will give them, as traditional leaders, a better footing to discourage early marriage.
As a traditional leader, I have set up bylaws which are working well to discourage child marriages. We therefore ask the government through Parliament to quickly put up an end to this story of child marriage at the age of 15. Can government please provide us that framework?
Communities around Malawi School have enacted bylaws whose aim is to reduce early marriage.
With support from Hivos, we have done a lot, and this area some changes have been identified due to this project funded by Hivos. So we just want to ask for more resources from other donors so that we can make this area change better.
Realizing the challenges that the youth from rural areas face may not necessarily be the same as those living in urban areas, Hivos decided to support Kanungo AIDS support group, KASO. The organization is implementing its program in areas surrounding Area 25 in Lilongwe. Among other objectives, KASO aims at reducing instances of violations of sexual and reproductive health rights. These girls are saying they are not brides but students.
According to the issues of child marriages, I think the recommended age for a girl to marry must be 21. Because when the girl has reached the age of 21, there the act of education, she can be at that age, the education processes might be finished. And as of now, here at Council, the issues of child marriages is a very big problem. Most of the girls get into marriage because of the consent of their parents.
And Program Manager for Kanengo AIDS Support Organization, Michael Watson Mandia, says since the inception of the child marriage program under Hivos, many girls have grasped the sense of education and the dangers of getting married at an early age. Mandia says his organization uses living and fresh examples of girls who have gone through the consequences of early marriage and early pregnancies.
We are focusing much on young girls' age range from 9 to 20, some are 9 to 24. Those are involved in this program.
Through the child marriage program, which is supported by Hivos, other non-government organizations working in the area of child rights, are Foundation for Children's Rights and Women and Law in Southern Africa, WILSA. Foundation for Children's Rights is based in Msusu, but has its tentacles in Katabe and Karonga.
Indeed, Foundation for Children's Rights, FCR, is implementing a 3-year program with Hivos in Karonga and in Mazamba, that is in Katabe. In Mazamba, since we started, Dikili is in dropout.
Working with other non-government organizations in lobbying members of parliament to increase the marriage age, which is currently below 18 years old. Through interventions implemented by several organizations,